Hello and welcome. Some of you may have just finished the War of Thorns Part 1 and kind of wondering what you're going to do. Well, if you actually go in now after you have joined the War of Thorns and you have completed up to the first part where you're standing in front of Sylvanas like you see here, you can go in and start doing daily quests like what you see here. They reward you with pretty decent gear, about item level 210. If you're comparing that to the legendaries, you can see that item level of legendaries, which was previously 1000, is now about 265. So this gives you a pretty decent starting point with gear, and you're not starting super gimped at the beginning of the expansion. So it'd be good to get this all done now while we're waiting for the second part of the War of Thorns. Also, the good part is you can actually skip the introduction for the rest of your alts, and you only need to do it for your first character. And I feel that this makes it pretty alt friendly if you're just going to bring all your alts up to the same point, and to get them all geared up prior to the beginning of the expansion. Selecting your main. I know we've already been over which main I'm going to select from my other tanking choice videos to a certain extent. However, I thought I'd go into a little bit more details in this particular video. Firstly, we know that when we are selecting our character, there are a lot of choices that we've got to make. Let me go out to the main menu and you can see for yourself which type of classes you probably want to take at that point of time. Let's jump out straight to the main menu. Alright, at this point, alright, here we are at the main menu. Alright, over here, I guess you probably gotta figure out the first most important question is, do you like being up in the face of your enemies, or do you like being at a distance? Well, if you're gonna be up in the face of your enemies, well, you do have a number of choices. You can be a warrior, you can be a paladin, you can even be a hunter for one of the specs, a rogue, you can be a shaman for one of the specs, you can be a monk, a druid, or a death knight. If you want to be at a distance, well, then certain classes are kind of out for you at this point. You're more or less left with hunter, you're left with priest for DPS or healing regardless, shaman for DPS or healing, mage for pure DPS, warlocks for pure DPS, monk for healing, paladin to a certain extent for distance when it comes to healing, but they are pretty much the up close and personal kind of healer, so I skipped over them at the beginning. Okay, of course, let's get back down here to druid, and druid do have both range and DPS for more or less every spec in the game, so yeah. Now that you made your first important choice, which more or less every single person has to make, now that you made the first most important choice, you can go on to the second part, which is just simply, what role do you want to play? If you're going to be playing at ranged, you're more or less left with either a healer or damage. If you're going to be in your face, then more or less you're either going to be a tank or you're going to be a DPS, just like kind of what you see here. Once you've made that choice, then of course it just comes down to playstyle and things that you like. I've actually gone over some of the pros and the cons of the various tanks based on my own personal opinion. However, I'd like to just kind of go through some other things on my checklist that I may have missed out in that particular video that actually led me down to my choice in Druid. Okay, again, this is not to say that the other classes are bad or anything, and it's just my own personal opinion. Alright, having made the initial choice, I wanted to be in your face melee. Melee is just fun to me now, and it wasn't always the case, but I've grown to like melee quite a bit, and the melee choices of mine were like more or less druid, death knight, monk, shaman, paladin, warrior. Okay, however, I kind of wanted to play a tanking class, so that left me down to warrior, paladin, monk, druid, death knight. Okay, I know some of you probably say, hey, what about demon hunter? Well, yeah, Demon Hunter is also a melee class, and it's both DPS and tanking, and I kind of forgot about it just now simply because the logo is missing. And the reason why the logo is missing is because you're still restricted to just one Demon Hunter per server, regardless of whether it's Alliance or Horde. Yeah, so I already have a character there on this server, so the Demon Hunter is missing. Okay, so anyway, back to tanks. So Demon Hunter, Death Knight, Druid, Monk, Paladin or Warrior. So out of these choices, more of the playstyle for me. So I just do not like the Monk. So I know a lot of people would disagree with me. They like the Monk is like, oh, monks are awesome and cool, and I love monks joining me in the game. I love them as DPS. I love them when they're doing tanking, when I'm playing an off-spec. I love them when they're healing me as a tank. But honestly, to me, I just don't find them fun, and I just find the playstyle a bit too convoluted for me. And again, that's just my own personal opinion. It's not a difficult class to play, but it's just not fun for me. So I'm gonna just drop the Monk immediately off the bat from there. They have fantastic class in BFA, and I have tried it, but I just don't find it appealing, and I'm probably not going to level one. Alright, now back to the other choices. Okay, as you can see, Demon Hunter is missing from here, and I have played Demon Hunter, but never really got around to leveling it to the max level, and even though they are pretty badass, and I have tested them in beta, and they're pretty cool and all, but I kind of find Demon Hunters to be a bit, I guess, simplistic. I don't know, I guess other people would disagree with me. They'd be saying like, hey, you know, the other simpler classes, the Druid is even more simple. But yeah, I mean, I like the Druid style of it, because even though it's simple, there's a certain measure of fluidity there, which I kind of like. Demon Hunters are fluid, and I have tried them, but again, just not my cup of tea. Though there are a lot of fantastic Demon Hunters out there, and honestly, if you like playing it, go for it. They're a fantastic class in BFA. So down to my remaining 4 choices: Warrior, Paladin, Druid, and Death Knight. More or less, these are the 4 main characters that I've been using for several expansions now. I've been using Warrior as my main from, I think, Cataclysm all the way until Warlords of Draenor. My main alt throughout the rest of the expansions was, I guess, the Paladin, whom I played as my main alt from the Burning Crusade up to Mists of Pandaria. The Death Knight, I started, being like in the 3rd place kind of alt, which was from Wrath of the Lich King, all the way until Warlords of Draenor, where he kind of took over as my 2nd main, and the Paladin kind of went to the 3rd. For my Druid, he's always been my 4th class. However, for some reason, I found playing the Druid to be pretty fun during Legion. Not just because of how cool their Druid forms look, though that's a very big factor. Yeah, it's more because of the playstyle. I felt that the quality of life improvements that they made in Legion just made the class so much more fun and so much more fluid that I just loved it. Going into BFA, it was the first class I tried, and I'm actually not too sad about picking it again as my main for BFA. As for the rest of the classes, I did mention in the past that, Paladin, Death Knight were all very good choices. However, I was not really very clear, I guess, on the Warrior. Well, Warrior is still pretty fun, and honestly, I'd probably rank it as 3rd or 4th in my choice of alts among my top 4 alts. And the reason is, of course, because of the self-sustain to a certain extent. Yeah, I want to have a class that is able to do content without needing to group up all the time for everything. And I tend to like to solo certain things like, just rares or rare elites and all this kind of mobs. The Warrior can function on these mostly. However, if the battle gets too long and there are no small critters or mobs around, that makes the Warrior a little bit less easy to play, especially if the incoming damage tends to be reasonably high. Sure, they can handle a lot of it, but without those small adds to kill, Victory Rush tends to become unavailable, and this makes it problematic for long-term sustainability unless you have somebody there to heal you. In the dungeons, they all play fine, they all play fairly, and what matters probably is just how good of a healer you have. If you have a great healer, it doesn't really matter which class you're playing. But all in all, I do find them pretty fun, and the warrior damage is pretty awesome so far in my own testing in the beta, as well as so far in the early War of Thorns Part 1. Yeah, they're doing pretty well. Currently, my second favorite after the druid is actually the paladin, namely because of their interrupts. They have fantastic interrupts with their shield, and their shield's interrupts actually allow you to bring mobs that are quite stubborn sometimes, especially spellcasters, to allow them to move closer to you. Of course, the Death Knight has Golfin's Grasp, which can do that without the need of the shield. But again, the frequent interrupts really help and continue to break spellcasting, which really reduces the amount of spell damage that you can take. So all in all, my ranking order in a sense would be Druid first, Paladin second, and then more or less there's a toss-up between the Death Knight and the Warrior as and when I get a chance to play them. This is just the order in which I'm probably going to level them, and of course I would make a final decision again after 8.1, where they may introduce some of the other changes which have not yet come about, as I believe Blizzard has kind of mentioned that they're going to still make certain changes which they didn't have time for, and we do know certain classes that they have mentioned specifically, but I would say that they may be looking at other things within the existing classes. You never know, Warrior could get certain changes, Death Knight could get additional changes, and there's still some balancing aspect of it that hasn't been done. So yeah, if you want to choose your main, you gotta make your own choice, but I do hope that this process, of me going through all this has kind of helped you make your own choice about which character you would like to pick. And for me, as I said, Druid is probably the character I'm going to be starting with for this expansion. Whether it becomes the main at the end of the expansion past 8.1, we'll have to see. Anyway, that's all I've got for you, and do drop a like if you like this video, or downvote it if you just don't like it, and of course do drop me a comment if you got any other suggestions on how you would make your own choices when it comes to selecting your main, so that the rest of us can grow as a community. Alright, give us a subscribe, and thank you for watching. See you next time.